Join us now, the founder of Status Coup, wonderful independent investigative journalist, Jordan Chariton. Great to see you, Jordan.
Good to see you, man.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So listen, before we jump into this, you all have been doing indispensable reporting. Some of the few people who were there on the ground in Staten Island from the beginning, who actually understood that Christian Smalls and his team, Derek Palmer and all the rest, actually had a shot at pulling this thing off. And I want to say to our audience, you guys, this outlet really deserves your support. So tell people how to follow you, how to support you if they believe in your work.
Yeah, we're on YouTube, Status Coup, C-O-U-P. Click the bell for all notifications because they don't like to show us that much. You get a text when we're live, statuscoup.com/text. And if you want to support our on-the-ground reporting, that's statuscoup.com/join for $5 a month.
Great.
Awesome.
All right, so with that out of the way, let's talk about what we brought you here to talk about today, which is the Amazon union fight. And here's the lay of the land, guys. You all know they won a historic victory at that Staten Island warehouse. They have another vote that is coming up. At the same time, Amazon has dramatically escalated the tactics. And you all had a piece up at Status Coup. Let's go ahead and throw this element up on the screen, talking about why the New York Amazon union victory was such a game changer. So before we get into the very latest news and their union busting tactics, just give us a little bit of the context here of why people should care so much about what is happening on Staten Island right now.
Yeah, I think what really is important about Staten Island is they have gone against convention, and especially in organized labor, which hasn't really changed things up in the last 30, 40 years. They basically did a guerrilla campaign. Kind of like guerrilla warfare, basically shunning traditional labor advice, consultation, traditional labor that told them what you're doing is basically suicidal in terms of victory. And they are basically doing this in kind of a digital media meets barbecue kind of way. So, you know, barbecues for workers, free food, snappy TikTok videos. And I think that's really resonated because it's kind of like all politics is local. Well, for unionization, you really have to hit the demographic and the geography of where you're trying to unionize. Most of the workers in that massive warehouse were young people. I remember the union tent was right next to the bus stop. It was mostly, like, I would say 18 to 26, 27-year-olds coming off that bus. So they have very strategically done this, and it's a blueprint for other Amazon warehouses or, you know, workers wanting to unionize elsewhere to really, if you target the demographic of your warehouse or cafe, if you do things strategically and smart digitally, you really have a shot to overcome a lot of the union busting.
So talk to us then about the upcoming fight. What are the central issues at stake? Is it any different from organizing and the effort of the original union vote?
Amazon has definitely escalated. In the final weeks at the previous one, they actually, it seemed, allowed more organizing, maybe because of all the complaints that were being filed against them. Here, they have added more security to the parking lot, basically to surveil the organizers, which are continuing to do the same type of organizing outside the warehouse. Inside the warehouse, they've already written up a couple of the union organizers in this other warehouse that's soon to vote for solicitation. And they've also shifted and moved some of their over $2,000 a day union consultants to full-time. So now some of those union consultants that were parachuting in and out for the last year, they're in the warehouse all the time, pulling workers aside for one-on-ones. And it's really striking because most of this union busting backfired at JFK 8, but they're just doubling down on it across the street at LJ5.
Yeah, well, and that's what I'm curious about, because Chris also explained to me that the workforce at this is a sorting facility now that will be voting in just about a week, that the workforce is also different because it's a lot more part-time. That makes the organizing challenge even that much more difficult. It means that, you know, this may not be their main gig. They may have 2, 3 other jobs that they are balancing to try to make ends meet. It means that concerns are also a little bit different. What they would want to fight for in a contract is different from what was going on at the warehouse facility. So, as you pointed out, ultimately with JFK 8, those union busting tactics, they not only didn't work, they seemed to directly backfire. You all had video of a guy that I love. I think he's called Uncle Pat or something like that. Who's like, was initially kind of not too into the union. He's a Trump-supporting Republican. He got pissed off at the fact that they arrested Chris Smalls and some of the other workers. He ends up not just being for the union, but flipping like hundreds of votes from no to yes to make some of the critical difference down the stretch. So we saw that it really backfired over across the street at the warehouse. Do you think that it is also backfiring at the sorting facility, or do you think that it's landing and gaining some traction with a very different workforce there?
I believe it's backfiring because, yes, a lot of these workers are part-time, but again, a lot of these workers are young. And I mean, before this Staten Island victory, I mean, here or there was media coverage, but not a lot. There's been a tsunami of media coverage now, mostly positive. So all those workers, a couple who I've spoken to, that honestly weren't as plugged in to what was going on across the street, like they came to their job and left. They're now basically inundated in a good way of the victory across the street. Some of the workers from LDJ5 were at the press conference I just covered last week. So I think it's backfiring. I also think, yes, it's more difficult because a lot of them are part-time, but I think part of the pitch from AOU to those workers is Amazon thrives on having part-time and seasonal workers that they don't have to pay benefits to, that they hire and fire at a very rapid pace. So part of having a union, a big part of our demands is making you full-time and getting you those benefits.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, in terms of the people that you've spoken to and more, what's the enthusiasm level on the ground? Is it helping the case for ahead of the union vote? Because despite Amazon propaganda, are they getting access to better information?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of donations have come in after ALU's victory, the Staten Island warehouse, the massive one. So they have more resources now. And I think Christian Smalls strategically going around the country, meeting with labor leaders, but also speaking with, more collaboration with Starbucks Workers United, who is obviously having huge momentum. I think he's actually getting even more kind of strategic weaponry to tailor the message to them. And again, I think these workers across the street, I mean, momentum is momentum. It cannot be ignored. So a lot of those workers, I spoke with one the other day who was just like, we honestly, we didn't think it was possible across the street. So now the victory there is giving a little bit more of optimism that they could win. But it is going to be harder for the reasons Krystal stated.
Yeah, absolutely. On the other hand, listen, if this is your part-time gig and it's not, your full, like, the full source of your income, that also may make you feel more comfortable to take a little bit of a risk. So that does cut both ways. The last question for you, Jordan, is, I track this stuff closely, and you're seeing not just the Starbucks workers. Their last, I think, 4 elections, they won unanimously. Not a single worker voted against the union, which is incredible. We see now Apple retail stores filing for union elections. That's incredible. We saw Verizon retail workers winning the right to a union as well. And just the numbers, it's not just anecdotal. The general counsel of the NLRB says that union election petitions are up 57% year over year. So how's the victory with Amazon playing into this broader movement of worker uprising across the country?
Yeah, I think even before Amazon, there was a political factor here. I mean, Amazon, Starbucks, workers I spoke to basically said very similar. Yeah, we got like a $1,400 check and a kick in the ass this pandemic. We have not gotten relief from the government, even state unemployment. A lot workers I spoke to said they were getting letters in the mail that they have to repay their rental relief or unemployment for bureaucratic reasons or incompetence. So I think there was political reasons, like, the Paul Revere hasn't come for a lot of workers around the country from the government. And I think Amazon in particular, this could be a tidal wave, not to minimize what Starbucks has historically done. But if Amazon is 2 for 2, they already have, by my count, like 115 warehouses that have reached out.
Wow.
I think then you could be looking. I don't want to get people too hopeful. Then the next question is when are you going to do Walmart,
Right.
which would be a Herculean task. Walmart obviously is the biggest company in America, but I think if Amazon starts to see the tidal wave that Starbucks has, then you start looking for the biggest employer.
Well, people realize with this, like, oh my God, if you can do it against Amazon, it's actually possible. Not that it's easy, not that they won't throw millions of dollars and fire you and intimidate, all that stuff, but it is actually possible. So I know Chris has said that it's not just Amazon facilities that have been reaching out to them. They've been hearing from Walmart workers, they've been hearing from Dollar General workers and other retail and warehouse workers across the country. So it really is one of the most hopeful things that's going on. And just to emphasize again what I said at the beginning, listen, mainstream media obviously is completely ignorant that any of this was even happening. This groundswell, which could turn into one of the most significant stories of the decade. Jordan Chariton and his team was there on the ground from the beginning. They were some of the few that actually knew that this had a shot, that took Christian Smalls and his team seriously, that didn't underestimate what was going on here. And so, listen, he beat the mainstream media with many fewer resources at their own game, and I really just encourage you all to support him if you're able. The links, Jordan will put them all down in the description so people can find out where you guys are and how to support you if they're interested.
There we go. Thank you, Jordan. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
Our pleasure. Thank you guys for joining us so much.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. That was an awesome show. It's really good to be back here in Washington. Just as a reminder, we don't have the show on Thursday due to a variety of personal scheduling circumstances, but we will be back here tomorrow on Tuesday. As always, a special thank you to our premium subscribers and especially now to our lifetime subscribers. Let's throw to the plaques there.
Look at
that. At the end of every
thing
single
of beauty
show,
right there.
you will have that. We have our beautiful Made in the USA plaques, which thank you so much to our lifetime members who we also include in our credit section. We will see you all tomorrow.
See you guys tomorrow. Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.